Hi folks, John Cordisco back again. Round 3 of the Qatar Masters Open 2015. Interesting game. I think this is a classic Magnus Carlsen game. I might give it away, but Magnus Carlsen, current world champion, is white and is black. See if I can pronounce this, how bad I can butcher this name. Daniil Yuffa, Y-U-F-F-A. Not sure where he's from, but anyway, you got to have some nerve to play the King's Indian against Magnus. We'll see how this works out. Magnus Carlsen is white. Yuffa is black. We'll go through the opening a little bit here. Pretty much standard King's Indian. I'll tell you the truth. This is the first time, from what I understand, that a world champion has entered into an open tournament. Even though this is the strongest open tournament ever in the history of chess, ratings-wise. And I'll tell you, these guys are going after the top players. Kramnik today drawed. I shouldn't say he stole a draw. He used his skill and his resistance to draw. He drew another game. So out of 3 games, he's got 1 win and 2 draws. And Kramnik is a monster. Absolute monster on the board. Still. Magnus drew the first round against a fairly low-rated young lady who played very well. So I think it's great that these guys play in open tournaments. Instead of the same guys always playing each other all the time, or most of them, I think it's great. Nakamura does it when he goes to Gibraltar and some others, but I like to see more of this. But anyway, enough of my yackings. Bishop g5. Yuffa goes knight e4. Knight takes. Bishop takes. d5. I think black's okay. I'm not a very confident King's Indian player. I just don't like being backed up like that, but bishop takes, pawn takes. Interesting, though, he didn't play bishop takes. They're both about the same. The computer goes now like switching again. Bishop takes and e takes is about the same. I think he wanted the open e file. I think he wanted the extra pawns on the king side. Knight d4. Probably was trying to avoid. Bishop takes, the knight hits it, causing the bishop to retreat. Rook e1, rook e8. Well, this is a move that it's very unusual, but it's the proper move here. Rook b1 might be the second best move, but rook e4, hitting the knight twice. c5, forced to defend it. Pawn takes in passant, knight takes. Now, according to the computer, that's the last book move. But there's that rook hanging out in the middle of nowhere. That's, all those pawns and all those minor pieces around, that rook's a good target. h4 for Magnus. Yuffa goes queen b6. Now, of course, we can see that pawn can't go to b3 because of the pin. So he just moves the rook. a5. I think black's doing okay, considering it's a 330-point rating difference. Magnus is rated 2834. The young man is rated 2505. That's a ton. He's probably a GM with 2504, but this is Magnus Carlsen. You're a little intimidated, and who wouldn't be? Just to give you an idea, if you had taken the pawn instead, once you go queen to e2, that's it. You lose. So those free pawns aren't so free. After a5, bishop e3, hitting the queen. Queen comes back to c7. This is a good spot for that queen. h5. Magnus is going all out. Now, would you have the nerve to take that? Open up your king side? I don't know. Maybe I would if I could after pawn takes, if I get my knight back to here, maybe I would think about it. But he went e5. Magnus goes queen to d2. Threatening bishop to h6, get rid of that bishop. That's a pretty strong bishop. Knight to d4. H6. He decides to push the bishop. Let's go back here. That pawn is going to be incredibly annoying on H6. Second best move is queen to D3, but I like the H6. It definitely makes a statement. Now the computer shows a small advantage for white, 2/3 of a pawn, but honestly, I know that pawn on H6 is a pain in the behind. I think it might be just a hair easier to play black here. A lot of your moves are basically not forced, but pretty obvious to see. F5. Now, I'm not so sure about that. Do you move the bishop first? And where do you put it? H8 or F8? Or F6 for that matter. He decided to go F5. Now comes the classic exchange sacrifice, pawn takes, bishop takes. So he doesn't want to play queen takes. So bishop goes to F8. To give you an idea, after bishop takes, queen takes, he has to go there. That's the end of the world, but now you got a 4-on-2 on the king side. I don't know if I'd want to defend that. Thank you very much. Bishop F8. Bishop C3. Now, this is where, this is classic Carlsen. Classic Magnus Carlsen. Where he slowly but surely improves his position. And just slowly chokes the life out of his opponent. Queen takes looks like a reasonable move, but now it's almost a 2-point advantage for white. Queen to C5 was probably better than after F4, rook E4. Is it great for black? No. But what came was worse. F4. Now the rook goes to E4. Has to. But he doesn't take it. He hits the queen first. The queen goes back to C5. He figures he's got everything under control. Now the top 3 moves on the computer are all fairly close in score. It likes rook to C1 and bishop B2 the best. Third choice, and not way past the third choice, rook to C1 is getting better now. Bishop A1. Now that's a really slick move. Not only does it open the C file for white's rook, it still has the power of this bishop just bearing down on this king. Very nice, very subtle. D5, rook C1, hitting the queen. Now it's completely lost. And that's where Daniel Yuffa resigns. Give you an idea, after queen to D6, bishop takes, pawn takes, queen C3. King's going to have to run to F7. It's just a disaster. So there it is, a seemingly innocent position. And Magnus Carlsen just slowly turns the screws. Well done by Magnus. That's what makes these guys great players, and unfortunately, I know I'm not. And how many of us who watch this aren't as well. We're too busy. We're not looking at the whole board. We need to take a breath. Sometimes if you have time on your clock, I know it's in tournaments it works for me. And I've heard this commentators of Peter Svidler and Alejandro Ramirez are doing this Qatar commentary online on livestream.com. Sometimes, especially when you reach time control, get up, throw some water on your face, go to the men's room, ladies' room, get a cup of tea, cup of coffee, some water, whatever, juice. Clear your head a little bit and come back, because you're so wrapped up in certain parts of the game that you're not seeing the whole thing, where you can really, the best move is sometimes not the obvious move. That certainly was the case here with Magnus. He just slowly turned the screws on his opponent. Anyway, folks, enough of that, I guess. Look for more games from round 3. This is a great tournament. Going to be some exciting games. You're going to see a lot of non-chess names, as they say. They're not well known, playing the big names. So, anyway, as I always say, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.